When I opened the front door of my beach house after 5 months away, what I saw took my breath away. But to understand that moment, I have to go back to the day it all started, the day I missed my flight and made a decision that would change everything. My name is Margaret, and I am 61 years old. That day in March, I was at the airport, ready to catch a flight that would take me to my sister's place up north, where I planned to spend the next 3 months helping her recover from surgery. I had arrived early, as I always do, but unforeseen traffic on the interstate and a mix-up with my ID at the security checkpoint caused me to miss my flight by a mere 10 minutes. Frustrated and exhausted, I sat in the terminal, waiting for the next available flight, which wouldn't leave until the following day. That was when I saw her. She was a young woman, no older than 25, sitting in a corner near the exit. She wore clothes that had seen better days, and in her arms, she held a baby wrapped in a worn-out blanket. Her face was beautiful, despite the exhaustion etched into it, and there was something in her eyes that reminded me of someone, though I couldn't quite place who. I watched her for a few minutes. I saw how she gently rocked the baby, humming a silent lullaby. I saw how other passengers glanced at her and then quickly looked away, as if her presence were an uncomfortable reminder of realities they preferred to ignore. Something inside me shifted. Perhaps it was the frustration of missing my flight. Maybe it was the loneliness I had been feeling lately, especially since my own children had drifted away. Or perhaps it was something deeper, something that had been growing in me over the last few months since I received the diagnosis that changed my perspective on everything. I stood up and walked toward her. When I approached, she looked up cautiously. "Excuse me," I said softly. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" Her eyes filled with tears immediately. "I'm fine, thank you," she replied, but her trembling voice said otherwise. "What's the baby's name?" I asked, sitting down at a respectful distance. "Emma," she said, looking at her daughter with a love so pure it broke my heart. "She's 3 months old. She's beautiful. Do you have a place to stay tonight?" The young woman shook her head, tears now streaming freely down her cheeks. "I lost my job 2 months ago. I couldn't make rent. I've been moving from place to place. Sometimes I stay in shelters, but they're so overcrowded. I didn't think twice. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have been more cautious. But something inside told me this was important, that this meeting wasn't a coincidence. I have a beach house," I said. "It's empty. I was going to be away for 3 months visiting my sister. You and Emma can stay there. No cost, no strings attached." The young woman looked at me as if I had just spoken in a foreign language. "What? No. I can't. I can't accept that." "Why not? The house is empty. It's better that someone uses it, keeps it looked after. And clearly, you need a safe place for your baby. But you don't even know me. Why would you do something like that for a stranger?" It was a good question, one I couldn't fully answer myself in that moment. Because we all need help sometimes, and because I can. So, why not? I introduced myself properly. Her name was Lucy. Her story was complicated, filled with difficult decisions and unfortunate circumstances that had led her to be sitting in that airport with her baby, homeless. I gave her the keys to my beach house that same night, along with instructions on how to get there and some emergency contact numbers. I saw the gratitude in her eyes, mixed with disbelief, as if she were waiting for me to say it was all a prank. "Take good care of the house," I told her, "and above all, take good care of Emma. I don't know how to thank you, Mrs. Margaret. You don't need to thank me. Just promise that when you are in a position to help someone else, you will." She nodded, holding the keys as if they were the most precious treasure in the world. The next day, I took my flight north to my sister's house. I didn't tell her what I had done. I knew she would worry, tell me I had been reckless. Maybe she was right, but something inside told me that this decision, impulsive as it was the right one. What I couldn't know then was that a severe blizzard would hit the region where my sister lived 2 weeks after my arrival. Roads were blocked, flights canceled, infrastructure damaged. What was supposed to be a 3-month stay turned into 5. During that time, I tried to contact Lucy several times, but the numbers she had given me didn't work. Worry grew inside me. Was she okay? Was she taking care of the house? Had she taken advantage of my generosity? Finally, after 5 long months, I was able to return. I took a cab from the airport directly to my beach house, my heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. When the taxi pulled up in front of my house, the first thing I noticed was that the lawn was impeccably manicured, better than I had ever kept it myself. The flowers I had planted years ago, but had neglected, were now blooming vibrantly. I paid the driver and walked toward the front door, my hands shaking slightly as I inserted the key. The door opened smoothly, and what I saw inside drained the color from my face. The house I had left 5 months ago was barely recognizable, not because it was destroyed or abandoned, but quite the opposite. It was transformed into a true home, full of life and care in a way I had never managed myself. The walls I had left bare now held carefully framed photographs. They weren't photos of Lucy or Emma, but my own, the ones I had kept in boxes in the closet for years because it hurt too much to look at them. Photographs of my children when they were small, of my late husband, of family moments that seemed to belong to another life. The furniture I had covered with white sheets was uncovered, clean, and gleaming. The hardwood floors shone. The windows, which I had always kept shut, were open, letting in the ocean breeze. The air smelled clean, of fresh flowers, of life. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. "Lucy?" I heard movement in the kitchen. Lucy appeared in the doorway with Emma in her arms. The baby had grown considerably in 5 months. Her eyes focused clearly now, and when she saw me, she smiled. But it was Lucy who left me speechless. She was no longer the gaunt, desperate woman I had met at the airport. She had gained a healthy amount of weight. Her skin had color, her eyes shone. She looked happy. "Mrs. Margaret," she said, her voice a mix of relief and nervousness. "I thought you were never coming back. I tried to call you so many times, but my phone got damaged during a storm." "I explained," I said, still looking around my transformed house. "Lucy, what did you do here?" She lowered her gaze, biting her lip. "I hope you aren't upset. I know you said I could stay, but maybe I overstepped. I just wanted to take care of the house. I wanted you to see, when you returned, that I hadn't abused your trust." "I'm not upset," I said quickly, though my voice sounded strange, even to my own ears. "I'm surprised. The house looks beautiful, better than I ever kept it myself." Lucy smiled shyly. "I found a job at the coffee shop down by the marina. The owner is very kind. He lets me bring Emma with me. It doesn't pay much, but it's enough. I've been saving to find my own place. I didn't want to abuse your generosity longer than necessary." I sat slowly on the sofa, my legs suddenly weak. It wasn't just the surprise of finding the house like this. It was also the deep fatigue I had been carrying, the weight of the last few months finally catching up with me. "Are you feeling okay?" Lucy asked, concerned. "You look pale. Let me get you some water." She disappeared into the kitchen and returned with a glass of cool water. I drank it gratefully, noticing that even the glasses were cleaner than I remembered leaving them. "Tell me," I said finally. "Tell me what happened these past 5 months." Lucy sat across from me, Emma playing with her fingers. At first, I couldn't believe this was real. I thought any minute someone would come and tell me there was a mistake, that I had to leave. But no one came, and little by little, I began to feel that maybe I deserved this chance. "Of course you deserved it. I found that job at the coffee shop the second week. The owner, Mr. Albert, saw I had Emma with me looking for work. He offered me a job on the spot. He said his own daughter had gone through hard times and he understood. He pays me fairly and is patient when Emma needs attention." I listened as Lucy described her days working at the cafe, caring for Emma, cleaning and improving my house bit by bit. She had used her first paycheck to buy paint and fix a leak I didn't even know existed. Her second paycheck went to fixing up the garden, planting the flowers that now bloomed so beautifully. "But this is your house," she continued. "And now that you're back, Emma and I will leave. I just need a few days to find something." "No," I interrupted her. "What? You don't have to leave." "No, immediately. Stay as long as you need to get completely on your feet." Lucy looked at me with eyes full of tears. "Why are you so kind to me? You don't even know me." That question again. And this time, with 5 months of reflection behind me, I had a more honest answer. "Why? Because I don't have that much time left, Lucy, and I want the time I have left to matter." She frowned, confused. "What do you mean you don't have that much time?" I took a deep breath. I hadn't planned on telling her this. I hadn't planned on telling anyone yet, but the words came out anyway. 8 months ago, I was diagnosed with a serious condition. The doctors gave me between 1 and 2 years. Maybe less, maybe a little more, but not much more. The silence that followed was absolute. Even Emma seemed to go still, as if she understood something important had been said. "Oh my God," Lucy whispered. "I'm so sorry. Do your children know?" And there it was. The question that had been tormenting me for months. "No, I haven't told them." "Why not?" Because we aren't close. We haven't been for years, and I don't want them coming back into my life just out of guilt, just because time is running out. If they are going to be in my life, I want it to be because they truly want to be." Lucy looked at me with a mix of compassion and understanding that surprised me coming from someone so young. "I understand that feeling more than you can imagine. Seriously. My own mother, when I got pregnant with Emma, told me I was a disappointment, that I had ruined my life and hers. She didn't want to help me, didn't even want to meet Emma. She said when I regained my common sense I could come back, but only if I left that mistake behind." The pain in her eyes was palpable. "I'm so sorry, Lucy." "Me too. But I also learned something, that family isn't always the one you're born with. Sometimes it's the one you choose, the one that chooses you. Like Mr. Albert at the cafe, who treated me with more kindness than my own mother. Like you, who handed me the keys to your house when I was a complete stranger." Her words resonated deeply within me. For years I had clung to the idea that biological family was sacred, that I had to maintain the connection with my children no matter what. But maybe I was wrong. "Tell me about your children," Lucy said softly, as if she could read my thoughts. "If it's not too painful to talk about." I stood up and walked toward the photographs she had framed. There were Daniel and Sophia, my 2 children, captured in moments of innocence and joy that seemed to belong to another lifetime. Daniel is 35 now. Sophia is 32. I raised them alone after their father died when they were teenagers. How did it happen? If you don't mind me asking, my husband, Thomas, was a commercial fisherman. An unexpected storm. His boat never came back. I ran my fingers over a photograph of Thomas with the kids. It was devastating. But I thought at least we had each other. The 3 of us against the world. What happened? I sat back down, feeling the weight of years and regrets. I worked 3 jobs to keep them in school, to give them the opportunities their father would have wanted them to have. I sacrificed everything, my time, my energy, my own dreams. I thought they would understand, that they would appreciate what I was doing, and they didn't. Oh, at the time they did, or at least it seemed so. But when they grew up, when they went off to college, when they built their own lives, something changed. Or maybe it was always there and I didn't want to see it. Emma started to fuss. Lucy rocked her gently while encouraging me with her gaze to continue. "Daniel married a woman from a wealthy family, Linda. She's a good person, I suppose. But she always made me feel like I wasn't enough. Like my limited education, my modest job, my simple house were embarrassing. The visits became less frequent, the calls shorter. And Sophia is different. It's not that she rejects me openly, she just left. Literally, she moved overseas 5 years ago. She says she's building her career, that she's busy, and I'm sure that's true. But sometimes I feel like the geographic distance is just an excuse for the emotional distance that already existed." "Have you told them how you feel?" "No. How could I? They have their own lives, their own problems. I don't want to be the needy mother complaining that her adult children don't visit enough." Lucy looked at me with an intensity that surprised me. "Mrs. Margaret, with all due respect, that is exactly what you should do, especially now with your diagnosis. They have a right to know. They have a right to decide if they want to be present in your life while they still can. And if they choose not to be, if they don't care, then at least you'll know the truth, and you can spend the time you have left without the false hope that things will magically change." Her words were harsh, but honest, and maybe that was exactly what I needed to hear. "You know," I said, looking at her with new appreciation, "for someone so young, you are very wise. Suffering has a way of aging you quickly," she replied with a sad smile. "But it also teaches you what really matters. And what matters, Mrs. Margaret, is the truth. Honesty, even when it hurts. You're right, but I'm not ready yet, not to tell them about my condition. First I need to understand why we drifted apart. I need to try to rebuild something before revealing that time is running out. And how do you plan to do that? It was an excellent question, one I had been asking myself for months without finding an answer. But now, sitting in my transformed house talking to this young mother who had shown more gratitude and care toward me in 5 months than my own children in years, an idea began to form. I'm going to invite them to come spend time here at the beach. I'll say it's important, that I need to talk to them. And then, well, then I'll see what happens. And if they say they're busy? What will you do then? Then I'll have my answer. I'll know exactly where I stand in their priorities. Lucy nodded slowly. Do you want Emma and me to leave before they come? So you have privacy? No, I replied immediately. No, I want you to be here. In fact, I think I need you to be here. As a witness, perhaps, or as support, or simply as a reminder that kindness still exists in the world. Then we'll stay, Lucy promised, as long as you need. That night, after Lucy retired to sleep with Emma in the guest room, which she had turned into a cozy space for them, I sat on the porch watching the ocean. The moon reflected on the water, creating a path of light that seemed to lead nowhere and everywhere at the same time. I picked up my phone and looked at my children's contacts. How long had it been since we truly talked? Since the last time we had a conversation that wasn't superficial and awkward. I decided to start with Daniel. I dialed his number with trembling fingers. The phone rang 4 times before he answered. Mom? Is everything okay? His voice sounded concerned, but also slightly annoyed, as if my call were an interruption. Hello, son. Yes, everything is fine. I just wanted to hear your voice. Oh. There was an awkward pause. I'm in the middle of a dinner with clients, Mom. Is it urgent? Of course he was busy. He was always busy. No, it's not urgent. But there is something I would like to talk to you about. In person. Could you come to the beach house this weekend? This weekend. Mom, you know I have a very tight schedule. And Linda has an important event. Daniel, I interrupted, my voice firmer than usual. Please, it's important. I wouldn't ask if it weren't. Another silence. I heard voices in the background, probably Linda, asking him what was wrong. All right, he said finally, though his tone suggested he was making a huge sacrifice. I can come Saturday afternoon, but I can only stay a few hours. We have commitments on Sunday. Thank you, son. That means a lot to me. Yeah, well, I have to get back to the clients. See you Saturday. And he hung up. No, I love you. No, take care. Just a click and silence. I took a deep breath and called Sophia. I had to try 3 times before she answered. The time difference meant it was early morning where she lived. Mom? Her voice sounded sleepy. What time is it there? I'm sorry, honey. I forgot the time difference. I can call later. No, I'm already awake. What's going on? At least Sophia sounded more receptive than Daniel. I wanted to invite you to come home. To the beach house. This weekend, if possible. This weekend? Mom, I live thousands of miles away. I can't just hop on a plane. I know it's a lot to ask. But Sophia, it's been 2 years since I saw you in person. 2 years. And I need to see you. I heard a sigh on the other end of the line. Did something happen? Are you sick? The question caught me off guard. I almost told her the truth in that moment, but something stopped me. I just miss you, daughter. I miss my children. Is it so strange that a mother wants to see her kids? No, but Mom, I have a demanding job here. I can't just take off because you decide you miss me. Her words felt like daggers. I understand. You have your life, your important career. Sorry to bother you. Mom, don't be like that. Be like what? Honest about how I feel? Expressing that it hurts that my own daughter hasn't found time to visit me in 2 years? You could have come to visit me. I tried 3 times last year, and all 3 times you told me you were too busy, that it was a bad time, that we should wait. Silence. A long, heavy silence. Look, Sophia said finally, her voice softer now. Let me see what I can do. Maybe I can ask for a few days off. But I don't promise anything. Okay, thank you for considering it. Mom, are you really okay? I'm fine, daughter. Just lonely. And old. and tired of pretending I don't care that my children have erased me from their lives. We haven't erased you. No? When was the last time we had a real conversation? That we talked about something other than the weather or your job? When was the last time you told me something personal? Something important? Sophia didn't answer because we both knew the answer. It had been years. I'll call tomorrow, she said finally, to confirm if I can come or not. Thank you, honey. I love you, Mom. The words sounded automatic, spoken out of habit rather than feeling, but at least she said them. I love you too, daughter. After hanging up, I stared at the phone, feeling the weight of those conversations. This was what we had become, strangers connected only by blood and obligation. Lucy appeared on the porch with Emma asleep in her arms. Everything okay? I heard her voice. I spoke to my kids. Daniel is coming Saturday for a few hours. Sophia, maybe. Probably not. I'm sorry, don't be. It's what I expected deep down, but I hoped to be wrong. Lucy sat beside me, Emma breathing softly against her chest. You know what is the saddest part of all this, Mrs. Margaret, that they don't know what they are missing. Not just because of your condition, which they still don't know about, but losing time with you, not knowing the incredible woman you are. I'm not incredible. I'm just a mother who did the best she could, and apparently, it wasn't enough. No, Lucy said firmly. You are a woman who gave the keys to her house to a stranger, who trusted when no one else would have, who saved my life and Emma's. That is incredible. Her words moved me deeply. Maybe she was right. Maybe the problem wasn't that I wasn't enough. Maybe the problem was that my children never stopped to really see who I was beyond being their mother. Saturday arrived faster than I expected. I spent the morning cleaning nervously. Although Lucy had kept the house spotless, it was more an attempt to keep myself busy than a real need. It's okay to be nervous, Lucy said as she watched me rearrange the same sofa cushions for the third time. They are your children. It's normal to want everything to be perfect. It's not perfection I'm looking for, I admitted. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking for a sign that they still care, that I'm not just an obligation on their to-do lists. If they didn't care, they wouldn't come. Daniel is coming because I pressured him. And Sophia probably won't come at all. As if the universe wanted to prove me wrong, my phone rang at that moment. It was Sophia. Mom, I'm at the airport. I took the first flight I could get. I'll be there in about 3 hours. My heart leapt. You're really coming? Yes. I thought a lot about what you said. And you're right. It's been too long. I needed to see you. Tears welled up in my eyes. Thank you, my love. Thank you. See you soon, Mom. When I hung up, Lucy was smiling. See? She cares. Maybe. Or maybe she just felt guilty. Does the reason matter if the result is that she's coming? She had a valid point. Daniel arrived first at 3 p.m. sharp. He arrived alone. Linda had decided not to join him. I wasn't surprised. Linda rarely came to visit me. She always found some excuse. Hi, Mom, he said, giving me a brief, formal hug. Hi, son. Thank you for coming. It was then that he noticed Lucy, who was in the kitchen making coffee with Emma in a carrier. Who is she? Asked Daniel, his tone immediately defensive. It's Lucy. A friend. She and her baby are staying here temporarily. I saw Daniel's eyes narrow. A friend? Mom, how long have you known her? A few months. And she lives here? In your house? The accusatory tone in his voice bothered me. It is my house, Daniel. I can invite whomever I want. It's just that, Mom. You have to be careful. There are people who take advantage of seniors. I am not senile, Daniel, and Lucy is not taking advantage of me. In fact, she has taken care of this house better than I did myself. Lucy, sensing the tension, walked over with Emma. Hi, I'm Lucy. Your mother was incredibly kind to me when I had no one else. I will be eternally grateful to her. Daniel looked at her with skepticism, but at least he was polite. Daniel, nice to meet you. The conversation was saved by Sophia's arrival. When she walked through the door, I lost my breath. She had lost a considerable amount of weight since the last time I saw her. She had deep circles under her eyes and a tension in her face I didn't recognize. Mom! She ran toward me and hugged me with an intensity that surprised me. I've missed you so much. Me too, my love. So much. We stayed like that for a long moment, clinging to each other. When we finally separated, I saw tears in her eyes. "Are you okay, daughter? You look tired." "I'm fine. It's just been hard lately. But I'm here now, and that's what matters." We all sat in the living room. Lucy, feeling that we should have privacy, tried to withdraw, but I asked her to stay. I needed her support, her presence, reminding me why I was doing this. "So," said Daniel, always the most direct, "why did you call us?" "You said it was important." I looked at my 2 children sitting across from me, Daniel with his rigid posture and expression of impatience, Sophia with her tired but attentive look. These were my children. The babies I had carried, the children I had raised, the teenagers I had guided. When had they turned into these strangers? I called you because I needed to understand what happened, when and why we drifted so far apart, because we used to be a family, and now we are barely acquaintances who share a last name. "Mom, that's dramatic," Daniel started. "Is it, Daniel? When was the last time you called me just to talk, without it being my birthday or a holiday?" He didn't answer. "And you, Sophia?" 2 years. 2 years without seeing you. Is your job really so demanding that you couldn't find a single weekend to visit your mother?" Sophia looked down. "It's not just the job, Mom. It's complicated." "Then explain it to me. Help me understand." "Because from my perspective, you left and never looked back. As if everything I did for you, all the sacrifices, meant nothing." "Don't say that," Daniel said, his voice rising. "We appreciate everything you did. But Mom, we can't live our lives feeling like we constantly owe you something." His words hit me like a punch. "Is that what you think? That I am collecting a debt?" "It's not like that," Sophia intervened quickly. "Daniel, that was cruel." "But it's true," he continued. "Mom always reminded us how much she worked, how much she sacrificed, as if every moment with us was a burden she carried. That's not fair." "I never thought that." "Never. Maybe not consciously," Daniel interjected. "But Mom, remember when I got my first big job? When I called you excited to tell you?" I searched my memory, but didn't recall that specific moment. "You told me." "That's great, son. All my hard work finally paid off. Remember? As if my success was your validation. It wasn't about my achievement, but about your sacrifice being rewarded." Tears began to run down my cheeks. I don't remember saying that." "You said it. And you said similar things many other times. Not with bad intentions, I know. But the effect was the same." Lucy, who had remained silent, shifted slightly as if she wanted to intervene, but I signaled her not to. I needed to hear this, as painful as it was. "And when Dad died," Sophia continued, her voice breaking now, "you told us we had to be strong for you, that we had to keep going because you needed us to. You never allowed us to process our own grief. I was trying to keep the family together," I whispered. "I know, but Mom, we were kids who had just lost their father. And instead of allowing us to cry, you put us in the role of being your emotional support." Her words broke my heart because, deep down, I knew they were somewhat right. I had been so consumed by my own grief, by the fear of how we were going to survive, that perhaps I hadn't given them the space to process theirs. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I didn't know. I didn't realize I was hurting you." Daniel softened slightly at my apology. "It's not that you hurt us intentionally, but Mom, when we grew up and started our own lives, we felt like we could never do enough for you, that we could never repay all your sacrifices, and that became overwhelming. So you pulled away." "That was the solution." "It wasn't a conscious decision," said Sophia. "It was gradual. Every visit felt like an audit of our lives. Were we using all the opportunities you gave us well? Were we successful enough? Were we visiting enough? Calling enough? Being grateful enough?" "I never." "Yes, Mom, you did. Maybe not with direct words, but with sighs, with subtle comments, with the way you looked at us, as if you were constantly evaluating if we had been worth all your sacrifice." I covered my face with my hands, sobbing uncontrollably now. I had spent years feeling like the victim of my children's abandonment, when in reality, I had contributed to that estrangement in ways I had never recognized. Lucy finally stood up and walked over to me, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. "Mrs. Margaret, breathe. This is hard, but it is important. This honesty is what you needed. Daniel looked at Lucy curiously. How long have you been here exactly? 5 months, Lucy replied. And in that time, I have come to know your mother in a way that perhaps you haven't had the chance to. And what is that? Asked Daniel, his tone still defensive. An incredibly generous woman, a woman who gave me the keys to her house when I was a complete stranger, who trusted me when no one else would have, who saved my life and my baby's. That just proves she's naive, muttered Daniel. Giving the keys to your house to a stranger. Daniel, Sophia scolded him. Don't be cruel. I'm not cruel. I'm realistic. And honestly, Mom, you call us after months and we find a stranger living in your house? What are we supposed to think? You should think that your mother still has the ability to make her own decisions, I said, my voice firmer now, despite the tears. And that maybe, just maybe, Lucy has been more present in my life in these 5 months than you have in the last 5 years. The silence that followed was thick and painful. Is that what you really think? Asked Sophia, her voice small. That we don't care about you? I don't know, daughter. You tell me. Do I matter to you? Because from here, it looks like I'm just an obligation. Something to manage when you have time between your important jobs and your busy lives. That's not fair, said Daniel. We have responsibilities. I had them too. My voice rose for the first time. I had 3 jobs, 2 kids to raise alone, bills to pay. But I always found time for you. Always. Yes, and you never let us forget it, Daniel responded, matching my volume. Daniel. Sophia stood up. Enough. This isn't helping. It isn't helping? She called us here to understand what happened. Well, this is what happened. We grew up feeling like we would never be enough for her, and eventually, we got tired of trying. His words were like daggers, each one more painful than the last. But also, somewhere deep inside me, I recognized the truth in them. You're right, I said finally, my voice calming. You are right about many things. I made mistakes, many mistakes. I hurt you in ways I never intended. And I am sorry. I am deeply sorry. The sincerity in my apology seemed to disarm Daniel. He sat back down, running a hand through his hair. Mom, we are sorry too. For pulling away instead of talking. For not being honest about how we felt. Sophia came over and knelt in front of me, taking my hands. We love you, Mom. We never stopped loving you. We just didn't know how to be close to you without feeling overwhelmed by expectations we could never meet. I didn't have expectations, I protested weakly. Yes, you did, she said softly. Expectations of constant gratitude, of frequent visits, of us putting your happiness above ours. They weren't malicious expectations, but they were real. I looked at my 2 children, really looked at them, and saw not the children I had raised, but the adults they had become. Adults with their own wounds, their own struggles, their own truths. So, what do we do now? I asked. How do we fix this? The question hung in the air like a fragile promise. Sophia was still holding my hands. Daniel had softened his posture, and Lucy watched with Emma asleep against her chest, a silent witness to this moment of family truth. I think, said Sophia slowly, that we start by being honest, completely honest, without holding things back for fear of hurting the other. I agree, Daniel nodded. But Mom, that means you also have to be honest with us about how you feel, about what you need, without making us feel guilty. Just being real. I can try, I said, my voice trembling. But I need you to understand something. When your father died, I was left alone with 2 teenagers. No savings, no security. I had to be strong because I thought that was what you needed, someone to hold everything together. We needed a mother who allowed us to be weak, said Sophia softly, who let us cry, be scared, be lost. But instead, we had to be strong for you, because you couldn't afford to be weak. If you crumbled, everything would crumble. But you never realized that by not allowing yourself to be vulnerable, you taught us that emotions were weakness, that we had to carry everything alone, always. The pieces began to fit together. For years I had blamed my children for their distance, without seeing my own role in creating that pattern. I had inadvertently taught them that sharing pain was being a burden. There is something I need to tell you, I began, feeling my heart accelerate. Something I have been keeping, because I was afraid of how you would react. Daniel and Sophia exchanged worried glances. 8 months ago, I went to the doctor for a fatigue I couldn't explain. After several tests, they diagnosed me with a serious, degenerative condition. I saw the color drain from my children's faces. The doctors told me I have between 1 and 2 years. Maybe a little more if I'm lucky, but probably less. What? Sophia stood up abruptly. Are you saying you're dying? We are all dying, daughter. I just know approximately when. Mom, this isn't the time for philosophy. Daniel was standing now too. Why didn't you tell us 8 months ago? 8 months we have been living our lives while you… Because I didn't want you coming back into my life just out of guilt, I interrupted. I didn't want to be the dying mother you visited out of obligation. I wanted to know if there was still something real between us, something worth saving before time ran out. Sophia began to cry, covering her face with her hands. Daniel slumped onto the sofa, his face in shock. And now? Asked Daniel, his voice broken. Now what are we supposed to do with this information? Now you decide. You decide if you want to spend the time I have left rebuilding what we broke, or if you prefer to go on with your lives. I am not going to force you. I am not going to make you feel guilty. This is your choice. How can you say that? Sophia looked at me with eyes full of tears and something resembling rage. How can you make it sound like we have a choice? You are our mother. Precisely that is why you have a choice. Because being family shouldn't be an obligation. It should be a choice we make every day. Daniel got up and walked to the window, his back rigid. I could see his shoulders shaking, how he fought to maintain control. Finally he turned, tears streaming down his face. This is so unfair. You just told us all the ways you failed as a mother, made us confront our own distancing, and then you drop this. How are we supposed to process all this? I don't know, son. But time isn't going to wait for us to be ready. This is reality. And we can waste the time left in anger and recriminations, or we can use it to heal. Lucy, who had remained silent all this time, finally spoke. If you allow me to say something as an outsider. Please, said Sophia, wiping her tears. Maybe we need an outside perspective right now. Your mother is one of the bravest people I have ever met, not because she was perfect, but because she is willing to admit her mistakes. She is here, vulnerable, honest, asking you for a chance to do things differently. That requires immense courage. She gave you her house, said Daniel, his tone not accusatory now, but almost reverent. To you, a stranger. Why? Because in that moment, I needed to be seen. I needed someone to see my humanity beyond my situation. And your mother saw me. She really saw me. That is what I want from you, I said softly. To be seen. Not as the mother who raised you, or the mother who made mistakes, or the mother who is dying. Just as Margaret. As the person I am, with all my flaws and my attempts to do better. Sophia approached slowly and sat next to me. Tell us. Tell us about your diagnosis. About these 8 months. About everything you've been carrying alone. And I did. I told them about the day of the diagnosis, how I sat in the doctor's office in absolute shock. I told them about the nights I cried alone, terrified not of dying, but of dying alone. I told them about my decision to help Lucy, about how that act of kindness had given me a purpose when I felt most lost. Daniel sat on the other side of me, listening in silence. When I finished, he took my hand. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry I wasn't here. I'm sorry I was so consumed in my own life that I didn't see you needed me. I didn't need you to save me, son. I just needed to know that I still mattered to you. You have always mattered, said Sophia. Always. We just got lost along the way. All 3 of us got lost. Then let's find each other again, I said. We don't have much time, but we have something. Let's use it well. Daniel looked at Sophia. I'm going to stay. Linda can handle things without me for a while. I need to be here. Me too, said Sophia immediately. My job can wait. This can't. Tears ran down my face now, but they were different from before. These were tears of relief, of gratitude, of hope. But we need to set some rules, said Daniel. Total honesty. No holding things back. No silent sacrifices that later turn into resentment. If we are doing this, we do it right. I agree, I said, and I promise. I promise not to make you feel guilty for living your lives. I promise not to measure your love by how much time you spend with me. I promise to be honest about my needs without making them your responsibility. And we promise to be present, said Sophia. Really present, not just physically, but emotionally. We hugged, the three of us crying together for the first time in years. It wasn't an instant happy ending. There were still wounds to heal, patterns to break, trust to rebuild. But it was a start. And sometimes, an honest start is more valuable than a perfect ending. It has been 6 months since that weekend that changed everything. As I write these words in my journal, sitting on the porch of my beach house, I observe a scene that a year ago I would have considered impossible. Daniel is in the kitchen making lunch with Lucy, the two of them laughing at something Emma just did. Sophia is on the beach with the little one, teaching her to walk in the sand. The baby Lucy held that day at the airport is now almost a year and a half old, taking her wobbly steps while my daughter holds her with infinite patience. My condition has progressed faster than the doctors anticipated. There are good days and hard days. Today is a good day. I can sit here with the sun on my face and the sound of the ocean in my ears and feel something resembling peace. Lucy found a better job in an office at the port. She and Emma finally moved into their own apartment 3 months ago, but they still come over almost every day. She has become the daughter I never had, and Emma the granddaughter my own children haven't given me yet. Daniel left his demanding job. He took a less prestigious position, but a more flexible one that allows him to spend more time here. Linda, surprisingly, was the one who encouraged him to do it. She has even come to visit me a few times, and we are slowly building a relationship I never thought possible. Sophia took an indefinite sabbatical. She says her career can wait, that there are more important things. We have spent hours talking, really talking about everything, her childhood, her fears, her dreams. I discovered that my daughter is much deeper and more complex than I ever allowed myself to see. But the most extraordinary thing about these last few months hasn't been the reconciliation with my children. It has been what I have learned about life, about love, about what really matters when the end is near. I have learned that the most important legacy isn't how much you sacrificed, but how much love you gave freely. That gratitude cannot be demanded, only offered. That time together only has value when it is chosen, not forced. I have learned that dying isn't the scariest thing. What is scary is dying without having truly lived, without having been seen, without having allowed others to see you in your complete, imperfect, and beautiful truth. Lucy taught me that kindness towards strangers can be more transformative than years of family obligation. That sometimes the families we choose are as important as the ones we are given. My children taught me that forgiveness is a process, not an event, that healing requires brutal honesty even when it hurts, that true love can withstand the truth, but it cannot survive falsehood. Daniel appears on the porch with a cup of tea. "Mom, are you okay? You look thoughtful." "I am more than okay, son. I am at peace." He sits next to me, and for a moment we share the silence, looking at the ocean that stretches as far as the eye can see. "Mom, I want you to know something. These last few months have been the best of my life, not despite your illness, but because you finally gave us permission to be real with each other. I wish I hadn't needed to be dying to learn that lesson. Maybe it was the only way. Sometimes we need time to run out to understand its value." Sophia joins us, sitting on the other side of me. Emma runs toward us with her little legs, and Lucy follows her, smiling. "You know what is the most ironic thing?" I say, looking at each of them. "I spent my whole life worrying about the future, about ensuring your education, your success, your stability. And it turns out that the only thing that really mattered was here all along, this moment, this presence, this connection. It wasn't wasted time, Mom," says Sophia. "Everything you did, even the mistakes, brought us to this moment." Maybe she's right. Maybe every misstep, every misunderstanding, every year of distance was necessary to bring us to this honesty, to this authenticity. The truth is this: I am going to die soon. Maybe in weeks, maybe in months. My body reminds me every day. But I am not afraid, because I have learned that dying well is simply having lived well in the final moments. And these moments, surrounded by people who see me, love me, choose me, These are moments lived fully. Lucy told me something a few weeks ago that I cannot forget. You saved my life, Mrs. Margaret, but I think by doing so, you also saved yours. She was right. By helping a stranger, by choosing kindness over fear, by opening my heart when I could have closed it, I found my way back to life, back to my family, back to myself. If I could leave one message, it would be this. Don't wait for time to run out, to live with honesty. Don't wait until you are dying to say I love you. Don't wait to lose everything to understand what really matters. Life is now. Love is now. True family is built on the daily choice to be present, to be honest, to choose connection over pride. And when my end comes, I will leave knowing that I lived. I really lived. Important notice. This is a 100% fictional story created exclusively for entertainment and reflection purposes. All characters, names, situations, and events are products of imagination and do not represent real people or true situations. This narrative is intended solely to inspire reflection on family relationships, the importance of emotional honesty, forgiveness, and the value of time. It should not be interpreted as medical, psychological, or any other type of professional advice. If you are facing a serious illness, family conflicts, or difficult emotional situations, please seek the support of qualified professionals such as doctors, therapists, or counselors.